Welcome to Dukascopy TV. Joining me today to discuss permanent residency and taxes is Rene Philippe from Offshore Premium. Welcome.
Good morning, Alex, and thank you for your invitation.
Well, thank you for coming. So let's start with permanent residency. Can you explain exactly what permanent resident status is by comparison to immigration status, such as immigrant, green card holders and resident alien?
Alors, basically, Alex, it's all the same. Actually, the main difference between immigration status is between what we call non-immigrant or temporary status versus immigrant or permanent resident status. Basically, the two main differences between those two status are as follow. Temporary or non-immigrant resident will have to renew his status every year. An immigrant or permanent resident status will have to renew every 3 to 5 years. Second thing, an immigrant will have in general more rights than a temporary resident. Finally, as an immigrant, after a few years, between 5 to 10 depending of the country, you will qualify for citizenship. As a temporary resident, you can stay 20 years, you will never qualify for citizenship. You will have to go from temporary to permanent to citizenship.
How then does someone acquire immigrant or permanent resident status?
Basically, you have two options, beside all the family option. The first option is you are a highly sought professional. If you are such a person, then you have many countries which will receive you with open arms, like Canada, Australia, the US, and so on. The second thing is simply to become a permanent resident by investment.
Permanent residency programs require big investments. Why would someone want to obtain an economic or investment-based permanent residency?
Basically, you have four main reasons. The first one is for the future of your family. You have a lot of people wealthy living in countries which are not stable. They want their family to have a better future, so they sought a permanent residency in, for example, Europe, Canada, USA. Another reason, which is close to the first one, is I guess you know about the expression from rags to riches, but the contrary is also true. You can be a wealthy person in an unstable nation and going from riches to rags in the blink of an eye just because you displeased the local government. So it's also a way to protect the future. Third reason is because permanent residency is one step removed from citizenship. So it's a way to obtain the citizenship of another nation. And finally, you have taxes. Because you have now many countries which has personal income tax, which rates are close to spoliation. So, but for US citizens, which will be taxed the same wherever they live, for citizens from other countries, you just move from one country to the other to obtain a better tax situation.
How much does someone need to invest in order to become a permanent resident in another country?
But it will all depend on which country you choose. Basically, it's between 250,000 euro to 3 million euro. Okay, among the country where you have to make a small investment, you have Greece, Bulgaria, Cyprus. Country for big investment, you have UK with 3 million euro, Singapore $2 million, Hong Kong $1,290. USA are quite cheap actually. It's 410,000 euro of investment to get permanent residency in the US.
If you think that's cheap.
By comparison to UK.
You did not mention Monaco or Switzerland. I assume they're among the chosen destinations for permanent residency, especially the one based on minimum investment.
Yes, but Monaco and Switzerland have different systems for permanent residence by investment. In Switzerland, it's actually you make a deal with the local tax administration on a lump sum taxation, amount of tax you will accept to pay, and then the immigration status will follow this deal. In Monaco, and contrary to an assumption, there is no minimum investment requirement from the authority. What they require is a letter from a bank certifying that you have the means to live in Monaco. And depending on the bank, a bank can issue this letter with as low as 100,000 euro or as high as 5 million euro. All depend of the bank.
What are the tax benefits that may result in permanent residency in another country?
Or they may be huge. Take, for example, the case of Andorra. You invest 450,000 euro in Andorra. You rent a property there, you spend 90 days per year there, and you paid 0% income tax, 0% tax on capital gains. There is no inheritance tax. They will change the system under pressure from Europe. They will have a personal income tax at 10%. In Monaco, it's 0%. In Hong Kong and Singapore, it's 15 to 20%, but they have territorial system, so you don't pay income on tax on income from not sourced from Hong Kong or Singapore. In Cyprus, you have a 20% rate, but you have a lot of income which are exempted. In Thailand, you have 30% progressive income tax rate with 30% tax, but actually they only tax income made in Thailand, so you cannot pay tax if you want, if you manage it well.
What country would you recommend as the best for permanent residency?
But it all depends of the client, actually, what are his objectives. If it's a tax benefit, you have also to consider South American people prefer to go to Spain, for example. French people will prefer Canada or Belgium, or stay close to home, Switzerland, UK, Luxembourg. Some people will consider a university for their kids, so USA, Australia, it all depends. After, also one thing to look for is citizenship. How long time you stay in a country and how long time you acquire. You need to acquire the citizenship. Then with the European Union, one of the huge benefits is this. Look, it takes, with an investment of 1 million over 5 years in Bulgaria, you get a European passport for 1/3 of the investment required to become resident of the UK. In Cyprus, you can get a passport in 3 months for a 3 million euro investment, the same that for a permanent residency in UK. So that's things you have to consider as well. It's a strategy. What are your objectives, what you want to achieve, how to achieve them, and how quick do you want to be able to become a permanent resident or a citizen.
So finally, what do you need as the basics to get started as a permanent resident?
It's just your personal document like birth certificate, marriage certificate, passport, ID, all certified, criminal record. Of course, you need a blank criminal record and proof of investment. And then use the service of a professional like us because it will be easier and the process will go more smoothly.
Well, thank you for coming in today to explain all that.
Thank you for your invitation.
Thank you. So if you are thinking about making the move abroad to become a permanent resident, make sure you look into it a little bit more. Please check back here at Dukascopy TV. Goodbye.